Bam. My peoples. My peoples. Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez are in talks. And it looks like they might be fighting in August. This is a fight that I'm excited about. Obviously, a lot of people are going to be interested in this one. Two elite level young fighters and, in the center of their prime. We want to see it. Y'all already know what it is, my peoples. I'm Jay Smith. This is Box Center. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. I wasn't expecting for this one. And the reason why I wasn't expecting it is because, think about it, very recently we had been hearing rumors that Teofimo Lopez and Ennis were in negotiations to fight each other. And I thought that's the fight that was going to happen. Hello, cool guy. What's the deal, my brother? Early in the morning talking boxing. It's 5 in the morning here in Dominican Republic. But this is the sport we love, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, we might actually get Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney. It looks like, they're already agreed verbally to make the fight happen. And I think that's going to be a heck of a fight, bro. That's going to be one of those, explosive showdowns. I know people like to say that Devin Haney's a boring fighter, but if you look at Devin Haney versus Lomachenko, that was a pretty action-packed type of fight. And it's because of that, styles make fight. Lomachenko has the style that he pushed Devin Haney, and you saw it. It was a very close, very competitive fight. Ozzy says Devin could beat Teo. I mean, it could happen. We're talking about two young elite level fighters. You very, very cool guy. Oh, man, I appreciate it, my brother. I appreciate it. Hopefully, being a very, very cool guy is going to get me to number one, because that's what we headed. That's what we trying to do. Like I said, man, I'm super excited about the possibility of Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney. I think it is going to be, a super competitive showdown. Ozzy, careful on the road, champ. No doubt, my brother. No doubt. It's actually 5 o'clock in the morning here in Dominican Republic. Right now, I haven't ran into a single car. Like, the road... Look, let me show you. The road is actually empty out here. So, a little bit easier to drive safely when there's nobody out there. But, of course, if you're on your phone, if you're on camera and you're driving, you definitely want to be on point. So, I appreciate that, my brother. But like I was saying, my peoples, look, Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez is not a fight that I was expecting. And the reason I wasn't expecting it is because, think about it, we were just hearing about how Boots and Teofimo Lopez may fight. Teofimo was calling him out and all this stuff. And look, it turns out that Ennis turned down a fight with Teofimo. And I guess, from him turning that fight down, the next option was Devin Haney, who had already said he wanted to fight Teofimo Lopez. So, we got to talk about that too. We got to talk about the fact that Ennis could have fought Teofimo, and he chose not to. Some people are already saying that Boost ducked Teofimo, and some people are saying no, because, he got the right reasons, and he didn't fight him because of this and because of that. I don't know why Boots chose not to fight Teofimo. I don't know. But I got to tell you, my peoples, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. I will say, though, however, I understand that Boots is trying to become undisputed in the welterweight division. I get that. But he's not going to fight Mario Barrios next, right? Because Mario Barrios is already locked in with Manny Pacquiao. And they've been trying to negotiate with Brian Norman Jr. Those negotiations fell through the first time around. And, I guess they sent multiple offers. Didn't work out. Brian Norman Jr. has an opponent in June. So Jaron Boots Ennis and Brian Norman Jr. can fight later this year. But if Boots is not going to fight Brian Norman Jr., who is he going to fight next? Because I'm telling you right now, if Boots fights at the welterweight division and he doesn't fight a champion, then I'm going to have to say he ducked Teofimo Lopez. I'm going to have to say he ducked. Because I understand if he forgoes a fight with Teofimo to, unify titles. Unifying titles will be more important. Especially taking into account that he's trying to become undisputed. I get that. I get that 100%. If you're going to fight Brian Norman Jr., I get it. Forget about Teo. Cool. But if you're going to end up fighting at the welterweight division, and just an example, let's say you end up fighting some European guy that we never heard of, well, then you definitely duck Teofimo Lopez. Because obviously Teofimo, is of a higher profile. Is going to have a bigger name than whoever Boots' next opponent is going to be. So a fight with Teofimo Lopez will be bigger than any fight Boots is going to get at the welterweight division outside of fighting, to unify titles. That's big. So that's why I'm saying, if he's going to fight Brian Teofimo Lopez will represent the biggest win in Jaron Boots Ennis' resume. He would also be the most accomplished fighter Boots would beat should he win that fight. And he chose not to, man. He chose not to fight him. You gotta see, my peoples, it looks like a duck. That's all I'm saying. It looks like a duck. Hold on, man. Let me see what my brother King is saying. King Nadish, what is the time there, bro? It's 5 in the morning over here. Ozzy, what do you think about Terrence walk-around weight being heavier than Canelo? Let me tell you something about that, Ozzy. I've been talking about that to people. And I've been telling them, bro, Terrence Crawford is walking around in the 180s at 185. And I think people will be surprised when they finally fight each other, because there's been this narrative that people keep spreading that, Crawford is too small and Canelo is too big. And that's a false narrative, my brother. I'm trying to tell you, this is not cap. Did you see when Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez faced off after Canelo beat Skull? When they faced off, did Canelo look huge in front of Crawford? Did he look like a monster? No. I've been trying to say that to people, my brother. Crawford's walk-around weight right now is right around where Canelo's at. It's like, for whatever reason, people act like Crawford is walking around right now weighing 147 pounds. People talk like Crawford is weighing 147 pounds, and, a couple months before the fight, he's going to bulk up to 168. He's going to start eating a lot to try to gain that weight. Bro, Terrence Crawford is walking around in the 180s, 170s. He's big. And the thing is, and I find myself repeating this over and over. My peoples, Canelo Alvarez is not a big dude. He not a huge 168 pounder. We never heard nobody, arguing about how big Canelo is. That never happened. Do you hear somebody say, yo, Canelo's big, Canelo's huge, Canelo? No, you don't hear that. You don't hear that at all, my peoples. And the reason why you don't hear that is because he's not a big dude. Canelo Alvarez is little at the 168 division. He a small guy. Look, I'm gonna put it to you like this, man. And I keep asking people to do that. Check out all of the opponents that Canelo has faced at 168. Has he ever looked big in front of any of those guys? No. No. If you look at Canelo versus anybody he faced in that division, he's smaller than them, my people. Because he's a small dude. Canelo's not a big guy. So the notion that Crawford is so small and moving up all these weight classes. Nah, man. Yes, he is moving up 2 divisions, but he's moving up to fight a small 168 pounder in Canelo Alvarez. So, people could forget about that. Oh, Canelo is going to be so big and Canelo's going to walk him down. Man, listen. Anybody who's saying stuff like that is going to be mad disappointed. Mad disappointed. Because Terrence Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, the size difference is not even going to be that much. It's not even going to be that much. It's not even going to be something that you're going to find noticeable, especially with Crawford being a little bit taller and having longer reach. Come on now. Come on now, my peoples. Hold on, I'm at the pharmacy. I gotta buy some shit. Un segundito. Necesito esterogermina. Una de esas necesito. Sí. No. I'm at the pharmacy getting something for my son, my peoples. Y'all know how it is. We on daddy duty. But yeah, my people. Look, Canelo Alvarez, like I said, man, Canelo Alvarez is not a big guy. He's not, huge. And if you saw when Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford faced each other, he didn't look, like a giant in front of Crawford. He even looked kind of small. He even looked kind of small in front of Crawford when they faced each other off, my people. Come on now. Ozzy, it's crazy though. It might mean Crawford won't be as conditioned compared to when he cuts down to 154 or 147. So I got an answer to that, my brother. I'm going to have to disagree with you, Ozzy, and I'll say why. Crawford is walking around in the 180s, but that doesn't mean that he's out of shape. If you watch him, he looks mad strong. If you follow him on Instagram, then Crawford is a gym rat, my brother. So he gained weight. He bulked up. Muchas gracias. Pase buena noche. Buen día, qué sé yo. So he's gained weight. He's bulked up, but he's strong as hell, bro. Terrence Crawford is like the definition of a pure athlete. When it comes to his athleticism, I compare him to, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Floyd Mayweather, Wayne Gretzky. Just the best athletes out. Terrence Crawford is a guy who he's always in great shape. Think about it. Have you ever seen a picture of a fat Terrence Crawford or a video of a Terrence Crawford partying or smoking or doing anything crazy? So he's going to be in great shape, my brother. It's not like this is not a situation where he got fat or something and now he's going to have to cut down and get healthy. This is a situation where Crawford, you got to remember, Crawford versus Canelo is being talked about since Crawford beat Madrimov. Remember, he was already saying, he wanted to, win that fight, win that title at 154, jump up, fight Canelo. So since then, my brother, Terrence Crawford has been bulking up. And it's not bulking up like just eating anything and staying out of shape and just getting fat. This guy's been getting bulk, strong, tough, working out. And I'm telling you, he's going to be in amazing shape. I guarantee you that Terrence Crawford is going to look stronger than Canelo when they fight each other. Body-wise, he's going to look stronger than Canelo when they fight each other. Jay Jones, let's get Keith Thurman versus Ryan Garcia. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That would be a super interesting fight. Although, I think Keith Thurman is going to 154. I think that we're going to see Keith Thurman. In fact, I heard rumors that supposedly Keith Thurman and Errol Spence were talking. And that's a fight that, you know, it should have happened a long time ago and it didn't. But I would still like to see it today. Ozzy. Yeah, it's true. He looks ripped. But he looks crazy ripped at 147. I agree with you. You know, at 147, you know, he's cut up. Cut up like crazy. He's not going to be cut up like that at 168. But he's going to look strong, my brother. He's going to be super strong. He's not going to be like, you know, like he gained fat. He's going to be flabby and shit. He's going to be strong, my brother. Sadat. Indeed, Crawford lives a clean boxing life. No drinking or anything. And stays in the gym. Morning, brother. Good morning, my G. Appreciate you. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say right there. Terrence Crawford is a fighter who you've never seen him drinking. You've never seen him smoking. You've never seen a picture of an out-of-shape Terrence Crawford, you know, looking all fat and shit. You never seen that. Why? Because Terrence Crawford is one of these special athletes who, even when he doesn't have a fight lined up, he's in the gym. He still be sparring, still hitting the bag, still running. Yo, Crawford stays in shape the entire year. He doesn't wait till he has a fight lined up to go to the gym and start working out. Those are the special fighters. That's why I brought up Floyd Mayweather, because Floyd Mayweather was just like that. Floyd wasn't that type of fighter who waited till he signed the contract to start going to the gym. Even right now, what is Floyd, 47, 48 years old? That nigga still be in the gym. Nigga still be sparring, still be running, still in great shape. That's what it is. Special fighters, special athletes, they stay in shape on another level. That's why when I talk about Crawford, I think about athletes like Michael Jordan. I think about Kobe Bryant. I think about also athletes from different sports who were at that highest level of athleticism. And Terrence Crawford is that type of fighter. He's that type of fighter. So that's why I always try to tell people, and almost, let me tell you something, my peoples. In a subliminal way, it's like people know that he has more skills than Canelo. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. Hold on, because I got to see what y'all talking about, man. I don't want to ignore y'all. Y'all be talking some real good shit out here. Flip, Jay Smith, my guy. You up before the chickens and roosters. You already know, my brother. 5 in the morning, we doing it. Raw Dog, is Bud going to be the best fighter Canelo has faced? Is Crawford going to be the best fighter Canelo has faced? I mean, we're going to find out. We're going to find out. Because, look, that breaks down to opinion, right? It's all about opinion. You could say that Floyd Mayweather was the best fighter that Canelo faced. Or you could say that Bivol was the best fighter. So it's going to break down to an opinion. But at the end of the day, we have to understand Terrence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez. It's a mega showdown. It is going to be a super competitive fight. But think about this, my peoples. I want you to consider this. Why every time Canelo versus Crawford comes up, people say, oh, Canelo's too big, or Crawford moving up, Canelo's gonna be too strong. Like, think about it. The focus is always on how strong Canelo is, or how big he is, or how much more smaller Crawford is. That's always the narrative, right? But if that's the only narrative that you keep spreading, subconsciously what you're saying is that Crawford is the more skilled fighter, but you feel like Canelo's gonna win because he's stronger. That's what you're saying subconsciously. You know, you're making it about strength. It's about strength. This guy's a lot bigger, and that guy's a lot smaller, and this guy has power. And how is this guy gonna react when he gets hit? This fight, my peoples, I promise you, is not going to be about power. It's not going to break down to power. And I'll remind you, my peoples, the two guys who beat Canelo Alvarez were not power punchers. Did not have a high knockout percentage. Floyd Mayweather, Dimitri Bivol, great boxers with great ring IQ. Those are the guys who beat him. Ozzy, Bivol beat Canelo like it was just any regular title defense. You see? And it's not just Bivol. Floyd Mayweather too. Both Bivol and Floyd made it look easy against Canelo. Made it look easy. Made him look like an average Joe. And we know Canelo's a great fighter. One of the greatest of this generation. Canelo is going to go down as an all-time great. Yet, he was made to look bad by Floyd and Bivol. That's why a lot of times people don't understand. Just because you're a great fighter doesn't mean you're going to be great against everybody. That's not the case. As great as Canelo is, he was made to look bad twice in his career. Well, why are we looking at a guy like Terrence Bud Crawford with his skill set, with what he brings to the table, and dismissing what he's able to do? Come on now. We got to be honest, my people. We got to understand that when it comes to skills for skills, Terrence Crawford has what it takes to beat Canelo. He has what it takes to beat him, bro. Ozzy, Bivol said people lose the fight before they enter the ring versus Canelo. It's true. They go there to lose. I feel like Berlanga is one of those. Berlanga didn't go over there to win that fight. He went over there to survive, to make it the distance, to get a moral victory by saying, well, I went the distance with Canelo and I didn't get knocked out. That's what Berlanga did. Maker, Jay Smith, good morning, brother. Salute. Salute to the chat. Y'all have a great day. Appreciate you, my brother. And my peoples, y'all already know, man. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share these motherfucking videos. Let everybody know Box Center is going to be the #1 boxing channel in the world. In the goddamn world. Matter of fact, man, this is going to be the best boxing channel in the galaxy, in the universe. Aliens ain't going to have a boxing channel like this with my peoples. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to tune in to Box Center. This is your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. But let me know what y'all think, my peoples. When it comes to Jerome Boost Ennis, you know, him declining the fight with Teofimo Lopez, do y'all think that, you know, Boost ducked Teo? Is he a duck? Or are there legitimate reasons for him to turn that fight down? I already gave y'all my perspective. You know, in my opinion, if Jerome Boost Ennis is going to fight Brian Norman Jr. next to unify those titles, I'm okay with him skipping, you know, on fighting Teofimo. But I want to see who he fights next. You know, I don't want to see Boost fighting some European guy that we never heard of. I don't want to see that. If he does that, then I'm going to be like, listen, man, he ducked Teofimo. Duck. So I'm going to be on the lookout to see who Jerome Boost Ennis is going to fight next. Because Teofimo was trying to get that smoke with him, was trying to get that action, was trying to make it happen. Okay, he chose not to fight Teofimo. Cool. Let's see who he's going to fight then. Who is Jerome Boost Ennis going to fight if he chose not to fight Teofimo Lopez? We got to see it. We got to see it, my peoples. But I think, that's why in boxing, sometimes a fight that doesn't happen creates a different opportunity. I thought we was going to get Boost versus Teofimo. I really thought we was going to get that fight. The moment I heard that they were in the or they were talking, I was like, yeah, we're going to get this one. It's going to be an explosive showdown. Boost versus Teofimo will be explosive. But it looks like that fight won't happen, or at least it won't happen for now. And I would say Boost turning down Teofimo opened the doors for Teofimo versus Devin. So it looks like we are going to get Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez in August. That's a heck of a fight. And it's not going to be a boring fight. I know people, give Devin a lot of shit for using a lot of footwork, and they want to call it running and all that stuff. But styles make fights, my people. Styles make fights. If you remember, when Devin Haney fought Vasyl Lomachenko, that was a very entertaining fight. If I'm not mistaken, a split decision win for Devin Haney. That could have went to Lomachenko because that fight was close. A lot of swing rounds. So if we take that into consideration, with Teofimo's style of boxing, I would expect Teofimo versus Devin to be an exciting fight. I really would. I think that, obviously Teo is going to be real aggressive, applying that pressure. And Devin Haney, using that jab, using them counter punches, using that movement. I want to see it. I think Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez is going to be an exciting fight. I know, like I said, people give a lot of crap to Devin for moving around in the ring. Styles make fights, my people, and I think Devin and Teo have the right style to match up perfectly and give us an exciting showdown. So I'm looking forward to that one, And again, it's showing us, that Teofimo and Devin are amongst the young fighters who are about that action, who are about that smoke, who are trying to make the big fights, who are trying to keep accomplishing. And I can definitely appreciate that. Sadat, Teo will not let Haney be boring. He will have to fight. I agree with you 100%, my brother. It was the same thing with Vasyl Lomachenko. He pushed the action, and Devin Haney had to fight. And it's interesting. That's one thing that I want to see with Shakur. Like, he has said it himself that, people haven't seen his all because his opponents don't push him. They don't push him to have to bring out all of the tools out of the bag. He brings out enough to beat their ass, to walk out of there with the W. But, again, my peoples, I believe that Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez is a very interesting showdown. I know that they don't like each other. They've gone back and forth on social media. They had their little situations here and there. And that's it. It looks like it's going to be no more talking, I hope. Because right now what we got is two fighters who apparently agreed verbally to fight each other. They agreed verbally. So at this point, we need them contracts to be signed. Cool that they agreed verbally. I like that because it looked like they both have the intentions of fighting each other. But we need to see them contracts get signed, my peoples. Because y'all know how it goes when it comes to boxing. And this happens all the time. People agree to fight each other. Hold on, my peoples. I'm getting out of the vehicle. I'm going to hit the light soon. This happens in boxing all the time, where you see fighters who want to fight each other, who verbally agree to fight each other, and then for whatever reason the fight falls through. It doesn't happen. Negotiations break down. So I hope that Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez can come to an agreement, and they're able to make that fight. They're able to make that fight. Matter of fact, I'm gonna remind y'all that a couple years back, when they was both fighting at the 135 division, they talked about fighting each other. Matter of fact, remember when Teofimo fought George Kambosos, right around that time, they were trying to make a fight with Devin, and I don't know what happened. So, yeah, so that's a fight that was brewing. Teofimo and Devin, that's a fight that was brewing. That didn't just come out of nowhere right now. We almost got that fight a couple years back when Teofimo and Devin kind of agreed verbally to fight each other, but then for whatever reason, they didn't fight. So my expectations are, look, these guys, they don't like each other. They've gone back and forth, and they're gonna settle it. They finally. Mira, amor. Ay, tú me dices. Ay, te vas a sanar, little. So, we're talking about a Devin Haney and a Teofimo Lopez who don't like each other, who already have history of going back and forth. So, based off of that, I think that we could look forward to a great fight. Here we go, my peoples. I finally got home. Glad to be home. Now I can sit down. I don't have to drive. And we can talk boxing. My peoples, it's 5:30 in the morning. Y'all know Jay Smith get up early. Maker, Jay Smith, good morning. Brother, salute. Maker, you think Teo tries that behind the back punch with Devin? I don't know, my brother. I don't think Teofimo is going to use the behind the back punch. You know, I think that's a crazy punch to even attempt. But I don't think he's going to try it on a guy like Devin Haney. I don't think so. Sadat Hamed, Tell will not let Haney be boring. He will have to fight. Oh, I read that comment before, and I agree with you, my brother. I agree with you. Styles make fights, and look, man, Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, them two, they're gonna give us a great show. Like, I've been saying, in boxing, until the contracts are not signed, sealed, and delivered, you never know. So, the reports that I've seen is that Teofimo and Devin already verbally agreed to fight each other. But we all have to understand that a verbal agreement means nothing. At any point in time, if it's a verbal agreement, at any point in time, you could just walk away from it and be like, nah, forget it. I don't want to do this shit no more. As simple as that. So we can't really go into a verbal agreement to be sure that it's going to happen. I want to see the contract get signed, the fight get officially announced. But based on what we're seeing right now, it looks like there is a good possibility that Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney will be sharing the ring in the month of August. A good possibility, but it's not a done deal yet. Raw Dog, I think Teo is the better fighter, but if Dev stinks out the joint, we won't get a real fight. I feel you, Raw Dog, but, I was saying earlier, if you look at Devin Haney versus Vasyl Lomachenko, that fight was action-packed. That was an action-packed type of fight, exciting to watch. Why? Because Vasil Lomachenko is a pressure fighter. He took it to Devin Haney, and Devin had no choice but to fight back, right? So it made it a very good fight. Not just competitive, but action packed. So I believe that Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney plays out the same way. Teofimo is a pressure fighter. He's gonna come forward. He's gonna let them hands fly, and Devin is gonna have no choice but to fight back. You can't just be defensive and footwork and allowing Tio to put hands on him because you're gonna lose the fight that way. We saw with Vasil Lomachenko. He kept trying to apply that pressure on Devin, and Devin had no choice but to keep counterpunching, 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 and it made it an interesting fight. Raw dog. Dev changed a bit. I mean, I think styles make fights. Of course, he took a lot of punishment to Ryan Garcia, so I think it was a smart move to fight Jose Ramirez the way he did, so he don't go back to back fights taking a lot of shots to the head. So I know he used a lot of footwork in that fight with Jose Ramirez, but styles make fights. I think that with Teofimo Lopez, he's gonna have to trade. He's gonna have to stand there and fight or lose in the process of running around. Jay Jones, what's up with Ryan Garcia? So I seen Oscar De La Hoya talking about Ryan the other day. He said that Ryan Garcia, that they're not interested in the rematch with Devin Haney. I think that's more because he just doesn't like Bill, and they've had their little back and forth. But it looks like they don't want to do Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney rematch. So they're looking at all the options that they may have available. Look, Ryan Garcia is a big star, and he can fight whoever he wants. I know that he spoke about the possibility of fighting Conor Ben, and Conor Ben said that if he doesn't fight the rematch, he's open to going back down to 147 to fight Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia also mentioned fighting Boots at the welterweight division. So we just got to see what's next. We got to see what's next. I'm hoping that he does get a big fight, but we'll have to see what they decide to do. Maker, both their fathers are going to talk so much trash. Oh my God, bro. My God, yo. Bill Haney and Teofimo's pops. That's gonna be a shit show. That's gonna be a circus show. Those press conferences, I could already imagine Devin quiet in one corner and Bill talking mad shit. Tio Pops talking mad shit. Teofimo popping off at the mouth. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. I hope, and I think that Teofimo, he's already gotten enough backlash to stop with that racist shit. I hope, for these press conference, like if they agree to fight each other for these press conferences, I hope Teofimo don't do none of the racist shit. Just, I love the trash talking. Talk about you're gonna beat his ass, knock him out, all that stuff, but don't bring racism into this. That kind of messes up the vibe. Um, let's see, man. Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney. That's gonna be a very good fight, very competitive fight. I feel like even though they haven't, signed contracts or anything like that, but if they have verbal agreements in place, I feel like they are gonna make it happen. The negotiation part of it, I think they're gonna make it work out, and we're gonna see that fight. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what's next for Jerron Boots Ennis. Like I told you, my peoples, if Boots is not gonna fight for a title next, if he's not gonna fight Brian Norman Jr. to unify titles, then I'm gonna have to say he ducked Teofimo. Never would have believed I was gonna say that. With everybody that was telling me, oh, Boots is gonna destroy Teofimo, Boots is gonna kill him, Teofimo is capping, he don't wanna fight Boots. And then we find out that it's Jerron Boots Ennis who pulled out, who decided that he don't want that fight. That's not a good look. That's not a good look. Teofimo Lopez is a bigger name than anybody Boots has ever faced. Teofimo is more accomplished. than anyone Boots ever faced. Teofimo would be Jerron Boots Ennis' biggest win in his resume. How do you turn that fight down? What's the justification to say, no, I'm not going to fight Teofimo? So it looked like Boots ducked. Unless if Boots is going to fight Brian Norman Jr. next to unify titles, then he's not ducking, because unifying titles is bigger than fighting Teofimo Lopez. It gets him one step closer to becoming undisputed. So I respect that. But if you are not going to fight for a title next, if Boots end up fighting some European fighter that we never heard of, with a good record, but we don't know you, then it's going to be a duck. It's going to be a duck. Because at the end of the day, that fighter is not a bigger win on your resume than Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo will represent the biggest win in Boots' resume. Okami, are you in jail? I'm not in jail, my brother. No. Those are just bars. I'm in the Dominican Republic, my guy. Not in jail. So yeah, my peoples, look, Jerron Boots Ennis, I believe that he's a very special fighter. He's one of the most talented fighters of this generation. But it looks like he ducked Teofimo Lopez. Now, again, it's all gonna depend on who he's gonna fight next. Is he gonna fight for a title next? Then it's not a duck, because that's been, his plan from the beginning, or his objective to become an undisputed champion at the welterweight division. And Teofimo Lopez is not a champion, so he's not gonna be snatching the title from him. He's gonna be defending. So I'll tell you the two scenarios that would tell me that Jerron Boots Ennis is not ducking Teofimo Lopez. The first scenario, if he's going to fight Brian Norman Jr. next. If he's going to fight Brian Norman Jr., he's fighting to unify 3 titles now. And that's legit. That's a big fight. That's an important fight. Or if Jerron Boots Ennis decides, I can't make 147 no more, I'm going to 154. If his next fight is at 154, then I'm not going to say he ducked Teofimo, because he had to leave. But if he fights again at the welterweight division and it's not for a title, he ducked Teofimo. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Maker, is Boots more talented than Shakur? I mean, my brother, that's an opinion. It's hard to answer that question. I think that they're both very talented fighter. Boots gets hit more than Shakur. But it's about opinion. It's an opinion. But I want to see what Boots is gonna do next. I want to see it. Right now, Boots is looking like he's ducking Teofimo. Since you bring up Shakur's never appeared to duck a fighter. Fighters duck Shakur. They all duck Shakur. So that also gives it a different look. We've never seen Shakur like, oh my God, he's ducking. He turned down a fight with a star. We never seen that. And now we're seeing Boots. And I think that's why it's a bad look for Boots, because that's the main question his haters ask. Oh, who he beat, who he got on his resume. So that's the last question that Boots has to answer. Can you beat the big dogs? Can you beat the big names? And he had the opportunity to answer that question with Teofimo Lopez right now, and chose not to, for whatever reason. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. I would like to hear from Boots, do an interview. I know, Boots be on social media. And I know that he's watching people saying, oh, he ducked. He's watching the news and what people are saying about him declining to fight Teofimo Lopez. I know that information is going to get to him. So He should do an interview. Shit, he should come on this show. He should come on my live and be like, yo, Jay, this the reason I chose not to fight Teofimo Lopez. But I would love to know why. Why? Teofimo Lopez will represent the biggest name in Boots' resume. Why not fight him? And, end those talks of who he beat. He hasn't beat nobody. He hasn't beat any other big dogs. Let's end that. Fight somebody like that. Because, look, I'm a believer in Jaron Boots Ennis. He already passed the eye test with flying colors. He's already accomplished. He's already earned 2 titles. He's already a unified champion. But we also have to look at the fact, and I don't know, I think it was Keith Thurman who I heard saying that, and I agree with him. Keith Thurman said, Boots already got 30 wins, over 30 wins, but who he beat? And it's true. I think Boots got 31 wins already, or 32. And he still doesn't have, a marquee name in his resume. So that's the only knock on Boots. We know the skills. Fights as a southpaw, fights as an orthodox fighter, fast, ring IQ off the chart, everything. We know what Boots is able to do. But who is he doing it against? He had a chance to do it against Teofimo Lopez and chose not to. I need to know why. I need to understand why would you not fight the guy that would automatically make your resume a lot better. If Jaron Boots Ennis beats Teofimo, my peoples, the same day, his stock is gonna skyrocket. Boom. If Boots beats Teofimo, everybody in the boxing community is gonna be talking about that win. Everybody. I'm telling you, his stock will skyrocket. So if you chose not to fight Teofimo Lopez, I want to see who you're going to fight next. I want to see who you're going to fight next. Are you going to fight a big name, a reigning champion, an accomplished fighter that's going to do a lot for your resume, for your stock? Or are you going to fight some European guy we never heard of? Oh yeah, he got a good resume, he got a good record. He's 20-something 0 or whatever, but we never heard of him. I don't want to see that fight. Jay Jones, Boots could be waiting on Mario Barrios. I doubt it, my brother. And the reason I say I doubt it, because think about this. Mario Barrios and Manny Pacquiao, they're gonna fight. When is it? They're gonna fight towards the end of the year. Isn't it like in August? September, October? I'm not sure when they're fighting. I can't remember off the September, I think it is. The bottom line is, if he was to wait for Mario Barrios and Manny Pacquiao, what is he going to do? Stay inactive till next year? He's not going to fight for the rest of the year waiting for Mario Barrios? Now, I understand that he can wait for Brian Norman Jr. because Brian Norman Jr. is fighting in June. And if he wins that fight, he'll be ready to fight again, in September, October? Raw dog, Boots sitting around waiting isn't going to help his weight. It's not. Maker, July. Oh, Manny Pacquiao, Mario Barrios is in July? That fight is in July? I can't remember the date. If they're fighting in July, I guess Boots can't wait for Barrios. But I don't know if he want to do that. I don't know if you want to do that. And you know why I say I don't know if you want to do that? Because remember, Mario Barrios is not a matchroom fighter. Mario Barrios is a PBC fighter. There is no reason for them to want to sacrifice Mario Barrios to an Eddie Hearn fighter. So I'm telling you right now, Jaron Boots Ennis is not going to get a fight with Mario Barrios. Because I'm going to remind y'all, Boots used to fight on the PBC. Y'all remember that? Boots used to fight on the PBC. And when Showtime pulled the plug on boxing, Boots chose to go with Eddie Hearn. He could have went with Al Heyman and them to Amazon Prime. He chose to leave with Eddie Hearn. So you think that now that Boots is with Eddie Hearn, Al Heyman is gonna allow Mario Barrios to get his ass kicked by Boots and take that title over there to Matchroom? You think that's gonna happen? I don't see it. I don't see it at all. Raw dog. Boots is in a bad situation. I don't think so. I don't think so, my guy. Actually, I think the opposite. I think Boots is in a great situation. And here's why. Right now, if you think about a couple of years ago, nobody wanted to fight Boots. Nobody. Because obviously, the high risk, low reward type of situation. But Boots, he's becoming a bigger star now. So look, Ryan Garcia mentioned that he would like to fight Boots. Blair the Flair Cobbs mentioned interest. Teofimo Lopez, obviously, Boots turned that down. Devin Haney, Bill Haney has said that they want to challenge Boots. So now, all of a sudden, because Boots is more famous and has 2 titles, more people are mentioning his name. More people want to fight him. So Boots is going to have options. That big name that we want Jaron Boots Ennis to fight is going to be available for him. He might even be able to get a crack at Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman already opened up to the idea. He was like, yo, the money got to be right. I know they're going to have to, give Keith Thurman a lot of money to get in there with Boots. But that's a good fight, too. MAW, hello, boxing fans. Jay in chat. Smash that like button, folks. Hell yeah, my brother. MAW, appreciate you dropping it, man. So yeah, my peoples, I believe Boots has a lot of options that he's going to be able to explore. Now, I believe that they should pay Brian Norman Jr. and make that fight. Y'all know that they was already trying to fight each other. They was already in negotiations with Jaron Boots Ennis and Brian Norman Jr. For whatever reason they could. Not for whatever reason. It was about the money. It was about the money. They didn't want to pay Jaron. They didn't want to pay Brian Norman Jr. the money that he wanted, and that's why the fight could have happened. But at the end of the day, you need that title to become undisputed. Pay that man his money and make that fight happen. Make it happen. DR, Paul VFR, MAW, what's good? Make the fight happen. Jaron Boots Ennis versus Brian Norman. I would have loved to see Teofimo Lopez versus Jaron Boots Ennis. I would have loved to see. I wanted to see that fight, man. And I really thought it was going to happen. I was super disappointed when they said that Boots turned it down. I was like, Boots turned it down? Damn, yo. Teofimo would be the biggest star that he ever faced. He hasn't even faced a big star in his career yet. So, damn. MAW, Boots has a lot of options. Teo limited himself to one option, but it takes 2 to tango. MAW, I'm not sure if you haven't heard about it, but Teofimo Lopez pivoted to Devin Haney. It looks like Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney are going to be fighting in August. That's a big fight. So Teofimo also had options. Because Devin Haney was already trying to fight him while he was trying to fight Boots. So the moment Boots turned him down, what he did? Okay, you don't want to fight me? Yo, Dev, let's make this happen. Let's do it. And I told a few people who was in this live earlier, Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney is not going to be a boring fight, my peoples. Teofimo is going to press the action, and Devin Haney is going to fight back. It's going to be, remember Vasil Lomachenko versus Devin Haney? That wasn't a boring fight. Why? Because Lomachenko kept pressing the action. Devin Haney kept counterpunching. And it turned into a fight. It was fireworks in that fight. Boxing on paper. Ain't Teo too small, though? Boots been taking going to 154 already. Nah, brother, Teofimo is not too small. He's not a small guy. He's not a small guy, my brother. Teofimo, he's shorter. He's shorter than Boots. But if you look at his frame, Teofimo not a small dude. And like I said, my brother, Boots, he has options. He has a bunch of different options. I want to see what he's going to do next. If he moves to 154 for his next fight, then he's not ducking Teofimo because he's going to a different division. But if he fights at 147 again, and he fights some fighter that we never heard of, some European guy, some Karen type of guy with a good record that we don't know, then I'm going to say he ducked Teofimo. I'm going to say he ducked, because why would you choose that opponent over such an accomplished fighter like Teofimo Lopez, who's going to boost up your resume, boost up your stock? Gotta see it. Raw dog, Boost is getting a rep. I'm telling you, it's not looking good for Boost right now. We gotta see what kind of move he's gonna make for his next fight. But right now, it's not looking good. It's not. Leo, nah. What are you talking about, Leo, when you say nah? MAW. Teo finally interested in fighting Devin? Cool. That's also a quality fight. No longer a unification, but still quality in my humble opinion. I agree with you, my brother. That's a great fight. Two elite level fighters, in the center of their prime. And like I said, this is not going to be a boring fight where Devin is just going to be jabbing and using the footwork. This is going to be an exciting fight. This is going to be like Devin Haney versus Vasyl Lomachenko, where they went back and forth and there was a lot of fireworks. That's how I see Devin and Teo playing out. Boxing on paper. Yeah, after stopping Stanionis, he can't go back to the level of opposition. That's what I'm talking about. You need to start getting, and even looks, because Stanionis is a top level fighter. I got a lot of respect for Stanionis, and I believe that he could become a champion once again. But I have to say, Stanionis is not a big name. He's not a big star. Even now, still, people ask the question, who Boost beat? Who he beat? Because, again, Stanionis is not a big star. It hasn't been. So for Boost to turn down a fight with Teofimo Lopez, who would be the biggest star he ever faced, is not a good look unless he's going to fight another big star. Unless he's going to fight another top-level guy. Now, if he's going to fight, I always say, if he's going to fight Brian Norman Jr. next, then I give him a pass for not fighting Teofimo Lopez. Why? That would be a unification fight. 3 titles on the line. Of course, that's a fight. That's an important one. Leo. Teo could even cut the ring against Ortiz. Devin gonna be even worse. Nah, I don't see it playing out like that. I don't see it. Because you gotta remember, my brother, styles make fights. Styles make fights. And if you look at Devin Haney and Vasyl Lomachenko, why was Devin Haney willing to mix it up with Lomachenko? Because Lomachenko was pressing him. And he was going to lose the fight. If he didn't start using those counter punches effectively and fighting back and letting his own hands go, he was going to lose that fight against Lomachenko. Lomachenko pressed him. In fact, I'm going to be honest, after watching Devin Haney and Vasyl Lomachenko, I thought Lomachenko won the fight. I felt like Lomachenko won the fight and he got robbed. But I watched it a couple of times after that, and I felt like there were some swing rounds that could have gone in Devin Haney's favor, with him landing those hard, real hard, flush right uppercuts to Lomachenko's body. Counter right, boom, he kept landing that shot to the body. So after watching the replay, I felt like, you know what? Devin Haney won the fight. It could have went either way. I'm okay with the judges giving it to him. But, Lomachenko made him fight. And I believe Teofimo will do the same for Devin. Boxing on paper, he was borderline on being a star. The inactivity killed Stanionis' career. Yeah. Too much inactivity. That happens to a lot of fighters, man, where they're right there and then they go inactivity. They be inactive for too much time and people kind of start forgetting about them. Champ, I think Canelo gonna beat Crawford the same way he beat Charlo. So Champ, I respect that opinion and I understand it because Canelo's such a great fighter. I don't see it that way. I think that Crawford is gonna outbox Canelo. Charlo was there to survive, my brother. Charlo was there to survive. At no point did Charlo even look like he was trying to win the fight. He was there to make it the distance to go 12 rounds with Canelo Alvarez. Charlo and Berlanga both fought a fight just to make it, just to go the distance. Crawford is not going to fight that type of fight. He's going to step in there trying to whoop Canelo's ass. So it's going to be very different. MAW. A unification is ticking a box. Another unification is my first preference for Boots, but it's not versus Teo. Made most sense. Well, we'll see what happens. So I want to see. To me, the most important fight for Jerron Boots Ennis is Brian Norman Jr. because they will be unifying 3 titles, and Brian Norman Jr. can fight. Elite level fighter. He wants to fight Boots. He feel confident that he could beat him. So I want to see that fight. But if they don't make that fight, Teofimo Lopez would have made great sense for Jerron Boots Ennis. Because again, the magic question for Boots is who he beat. Who he beat. People keep asking that. I'm a believer in Jerron Boots Ennis. I'm in the Boots bandwagon. That's one of my favorite fighters, my people. So you don't have to explain it to me. But I understand the question. Boots, he's already a unified champion. He already got more than 30 wins. And he still doesn't have a big name in his resume. Teofimo Lopez would have gave him exactly that. Champ, he struggled way too much versus Madrimov to go up heavier. So, Champ, you got to understand, my brother. Styles make fights. It's not about weight. When you say that, I understand you believe it, my brother, but that doesn't even make sense. And you know why I tell you that doesn't even make sense? Bro, Crawford wasn't hurt in that fight. Crawford wasn't dropped, wasn't wobbled in that fight. So power was not a factor. Madrimov has a style. Styles make fights. He has a styles where he moves around a lot. He's very, does a lot of feints, and he's very hard to time. That's it. Crawford still beat him. It wasn't an easy win. It wasn't a good-looking win. He beat him. But to say, now, if you tell me that Madrimov dropped him 2 or 3 times in that fight or had him really hurt, then I would say, wow, yeah, that's too much for him. He can't handle it. But, bro, he ate Madrimov's punches like them things was chocolate chip cookies. He was never hurt. He was never in any situation where you could say, yo, he can't take that power. So the narrative that, his fight with Madrimov has anything to do with what's going to happen with Canelo, that doesn't even make sense, my brother. That doesn't make no sense at all. Styles make fights. Madrimov's power didn't do anything to Crawford. So that the weight means nothing. It was the style of boxing. Jay Jones, Pacquiao versus Barrio is July 19th in Vegas. Appreciate you clarifying that for me, my brother. Y'all know I like to talk with facts. So, somebody was saying that Boots may be waiting for Mario Barrios to fight him. That's July 19th. I don't know if Boots is going to sit around a couple of months without even planning anything out. And I also pointed out, man, Mario Barrios is a PBC fighter. I don't know if Al Heyman is going to sacrifice him to Boots, who left them to go fight with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom. I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to sacrifice Barrios to Boots. That's my perception. Champ, if Crawford beats Canelo, I will put my hands down and say he's the GOAT. But I don't see it happening, my bro. Takes a special type of fighter to go up and beat Canelo. So I'm gonna tell you right now, champ, that is my prediction that Terence Crawford is gonna beat Canelo by unanimous decision in a very tough, very competitive fight. And I'm gonna tell you what, champ, that I want you to think about this. Oh, my brother from Japan. Hello, cool guy. What's the deal, my G? You have a nice day as well. So I'm gonna tell you something out that I want you to consider about Canelo and Crawford, champ. Please think about this. When people who think Canelo's gonna win that fight, like yourself, talk about it, you guys always bring up the size. You say, well, Crawford is gonna move up 2 weight classes. Canelo, is gonna be too big for him, or he's gonna be too strong. But I want you to think about this, my brother. The 2 people who beat Canelo Alvarez, they were not power punchers. They did not have a high knockout percentage. Floyd Mayweather, Dimitri Bivol. So when you're saying that Crawford is going to lose to Canelo, or when you're suggesting it, you're automatically making it about power. Oh, Crawford couldn't do well at 154. That's too much for him at 168, too much. Almost everybody that talks about this fight focuses on the power aspect. Because size equals to power, right? But what about the skills? The people who beat Canelo Alvarez, they didn't beat him because of power. They didn't knock him out. Floyd Mayweather didn't hurt Canelo Alvarez once in that fight. Dimitri Bivol didn't hurt him. After Canelo Alvarez lost to Floyd Mayweather, he walked out of there with his face looking like he ain't even been punched. Yet, he got his ass kicked. He got manhandled. He got made to look like a regular fighter. Floyd and Bivol made Canelo look average, my brother, without power, without being power punchers. So that's what I'm trying to show you, my brother. You keep focusing on, the size. And it wasn't power punchers who beat Canelo. It was guys who outboxed him. They outboxed Canelo Alvarez. So you're saying it's not all power, but when you talk about size, subliminally, that's what you're talking about, my brother. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I want you not just to look at your own point of view, champ. I want you to look at everybody who agrees with you and what they say. You could say other things now to counter my point. But look at what everybody keeps saying. It's the same thing. Oh, Canelo's bigger. Oh, Crawford is too small. Oh, Crawford is moving up multiple divisions. Oh, he's not going to handle Canelo's power. Everybody's focusing on the power. That's the main focus. Meanwhile, the 2 people that beat Canelo did not possess power, did not use power to beat him. They use skills, my brother. Skills pay the bills. Skills beat power 9 out of 10 times. 9 out of 10 times, skills beat power, my brother. Leo, you criticize Tank for fighting Roach, a boxer coming up in weight, but you say Boots fighting Teo, a smaller boxer coming up, would solidify Boots' career. Make it make sense. I said that would solidify Boots' career? Leo, you gotta stop lying, bro. You gotta stop making stuff up. You really gonna start lying just to defend Tank Davis, bro? This whole live, I've been live for over an hour. We haven't even mentioned Tank. And you bring him up. You see that you're a legit tankomaniac. And I'm going to prove to you that you're a legit tankomaniac. Well, you proved it yourself, my brother. All I said is that Boots has never fought a big name. So a big name like Teofimo Lopez does boost up his resume. Of course it does. I didn't say solidify his career. Stop making shit up just because you want to be a tanker maniac, bro. I did not say that. And Teofimo Lopez, by the way, is way more accomplished than Lamar Roach. Teofimo Lopez is more accomplished than Lamar Roach, beat bigger names than Lamar Roach. So what? Why are you comparing Teofimo Lopez to Lamar Roach? My nigga, you probably never even heard of Lamar Roach before he fought Tank Davis. You probably never even seen Lamar Roach fight once. You never even seen Lamar Roach fight before he fought Tank Davis. My nigga, you been following Teofimo Lopez for how long now? 5, 6 years? You been watching him beat Lomachenko, beat Josh Taylor, and you comparing him to Lamar Roach? Stop it. Stop it. Stop the tanker maniac logic, my brother. David, scroll up and answer my question, brother. Let me see. Here we go. David, who do you think is the biggest promoter in the game right now? And could you explain the reason why? I know your boxing IQ is high. That's why I'm seeing what you got to say about the question. I think the biggest boxing promoter right now, it has to be Eddie Hearn. I think it has to be Eddie Hearn. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why it has to be Eddie Hearn. Every boxing promoter, the main ones, they all have big names. They all have champions in different weight classes. They all have certain things. But I would say Eddie Hearn is the biggest one because what he's doing at the global stage. Eddie Hearn was in Japan just yesterday. How this dude was in the U.S. for some fights, and yesterday he was in Japan, and next week he's going to be in the U.K. Eddie Hearn is literally everywhere. This guy's in the whole world, in every continent. And just the way that Eddie Hearn promotes, he's one of the youngest promoter, of the big time promoters. We're talking about Al Heyman, Oscar De La Hoya, Bob Arum, Frank Warren from Queensbury. Eddie Hearn is the youngest one. And I think because of that, he's able to be more forward thinking in the way that he promotes and the things that he does to promote his fighters, to promote Matchroom. So right now, I'm going to give it to Eddie Hearn. I'm going to give it to him. MAW, skills pay the bills. That's right, my brother. Skills pay the bills. And Champ, you see what you're saying, Champ? When you say Canelo got skills too, you're 100% right. I want you to listen to this, Champ. You're 100% right. Canelo got skills too. But I want you to notice that the people who say Canelo's going to win, you guys bring up the skills last. Like when we go back and forth, then you bring up the skills. But the skills is not the first thing that you bring up. You guys don't say, nah, Canelo's going to beat Crawford because he got more skills than him. You guys never bring that up, my brother, ever. Nobody ever tells me, Canelo's going to beat Crawford because he's the most skilled fighter out of the two. Nobody says that, my guy. Your arguments are always, nah, Crawford moving up, and he didn't look good at 154 with Madrimov. Canelo's too big, Canelo's too strong. You guys always make it about power. So subliminally, you know Crawford is the more skilled fighter because you only talk about power. Then you respond with the skills when we talk about it. But that's not your main talking point. Your main talking point is never about the skills. It's always about the size. Subliminally, y'all know Bud is the more skilled fighter because you yourself don't bring up skills until we bring it up to you. Leo, Rocha stop Tio. That's Cap. David, thank you for that, brother. You're welcome, my guy. Any question like that, I do my best to answer it. It's obviously going to be my personal opinion. I respect anyone who disagrees with me. But right now, I got Eddie Hearn being the best promoter. My take. Champ, I just don't think Crawford can apply his skill set against a bigger fighter. How can you say that when Crawford has been fighting bigger fighters his whole career? How can you say that? What skill set are you not able to apply on a bigger fighter, bro? Come on now. Like, what you're saying, my guy, is more of a, I don't like Terrence Crawford, so I'm going to look at Terrence Crawford in a negative point of view. He's too small. His skills don't apply. Like, bro, what you're saying doesn't even make no sense. How are you going to say his skills don't apply with a guy that's shorter than him? You do know that Canelo is shorter than Crawford, right? And you do know that Canelo has shorter reach than Crawford, right? What are you talking about? His skills don't apply to a bigger guy. That doesn't even make sense, bro. Canelo is physically smaller than Crawford. A shorter guy with shorter reach, Crawford is not going to be able to apply his reach. Bro, you couldn't even make that shit make sense if you tried. You could try to make it make sense, and you can't. You won't be able to. Champ, pound for pound, 100%, he's more skillful. You see, now you're breaking that down to opinion. That's your opinion. If you believe that, nice. But I'm going to remind you that he's more skillful is not what you said in the beginning. You hung up, you hung on to size. And you talk about size. He's bigger. Crawford versus Madrimov. And Crawford moving up. And now you brought up skills. But why you didn't bring up skills in the beginning? So I'm telling you, champ, I want you to keep this in mind. Bro. I want you to keep this in mind. Every time people feel Canelo's going to win, they bring up size. They bring up Crawford and Madrimov at 154. Y'all clinging on to size. And then as a secondary argument, you bring up skills. Why you didn't bring up skills in the beginning? Why in the beginning you didn't say, look, I don't think Crawford could beat Canelo because Canelo got more skills? You didn't say that. If you go back to your own words, what you said in the beginning was, oh, I don't see him moving up 2 divisions and being able to win because he struggled versus Madrimov at 154. You made it about weight and power. That was your whole argument, weight and power. And then later, you brought up skills. Why not bring up skills from the beginning? MAW, Eddie is definitely up there. I mean, you know, there's the guys that's the main characters. So, Eddie Hearn, Oscar De La Hoya, Bob Arum, Al Heyman, and Frank Warren. I would say those are the main players. And in women's boxing, Jake Paul is becoming a major player as a promoter. So we got to keep an eye on him as well. Champ, Crawford is more skillful than Canelo if he is the same size. Champ, you can't deny the size, bro. It's definitely a factor. I won't look past it. But, bro, you're denying the size too because you're ignoring the fact that Terrence Crawford is taller and has longer reach. Do you understand what height and reach advantages does for a skillful fighter? Do you understand that? I need you to analyze that, my brother. I need you to analyze how Crawford is going to be able to use his height and reach on Canelo. And who's taller? Crawford is taller. Who has more reach? Crawford has more reach. Who has the better footwork? Crawford has the better footwork. There's a lot of stuff that you're ignoring about Terrence Crawford, my guy. There's a lot of stuff you're ignoring about Crawford. But you're going to find out. You're going to find out in September. Champ, but do you think Crawford has enough power to keep Canelo honest? You see, that's what I'm trying to tell you, my guy. Look how you keep focusing on power. Look how you keep focusing on power. Did Floyd Mayweather have enough power to keep him honest, or did he simply outbox him? That's what I'm trying to teach you, my brother. You don't need to have power to keep him honest. You just need to outbox him. That's it. That's it. And if you don't think that Crawford has the power to keep him honest, you're going to find out. You're going to find out. This guy be deadlifting over 300 pounds in plain clothes. I think you underestimate Crawford's power. You underestimate Crawford's skills. You're going to find out. You're going to find out. I'm telling you. Champ, I don't hate Crawford at all. Not a hater. Just looking at it unbiased. My brother, it doesn't really look like you're looking at it unbiased, and I'll tell you why. You're bringing up Crawford and Madrimov at 154. That doesn't look unbiased. Why? Madrimov didn't hurt Crawford. He didn't drop Crawford. He didn't do anything to him. So why bring up a fight in a different division to say that he can't beat Canelo? That fight is irrelevant. Crawford versus Madrimov is completely irrelevant and incoherent, my brother. It's incoherent. Champ, people expected Crawford to stop Madrimov. My answer to that is people don't know shit about boxing. There's a reason why Floyd Mayweather uncle said that. People don't know shit about boxing. When you talk about what people expected, there's the answer, my brother. People don't know shit about boxing. People don't know shit about boxing. They see a guy that they don't know, that doesn't have a lot of professional fights, and they automatically assume the guy needs to get knocked out. That's because people don't know shit about boxing. David, I like the way you don't have an agenda on certain fighters. You just spit 100% legit facts. But also, on the other hand, you let your viewers have their own opinion without getting mad. I appreciate that, David. And I tell you what, look, when it comes to going back and forth with the viewer, I appreciate when people disagree with me. You know why? Because when you disagree with me, it looks like you're also formulating your own opinion, and we can go back and forth about it, and that makes an interesting conversation, my brother. Because think about this, David. If everybody on this channel agrees with me, because I keep kicking people out who disagree. Oh, you disagree, I'm blocking you. Everybody who disagrees, I'm blocking you. If I keep doing that, right, and I'm just building an audience of people who agree with me, what kind of debate we going to have if we all just agree with each other? Like, oh yeah, this fight is going to win. And everybody goes in the comment section, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, he's going to win. That's going to be a boring ass live. Like, we're going to be live for like 10 minutes with everybody just agreeing with each other. It's like, shit, all right, peace out, my people. I guess we all agree. I'm out of here. Boom. So I love to talk with people who have a different point of view. And I think you can make more interesting conversation based on that. Champ, so Madrimov is good, though. That's what I'm saying, yo. Madrimov is an elite level fighter. And I'm going to tell you what. I want to say something. Sometimes, especially the American boxing fans, don't have the right perception of fighters because they don't understand how the amateur program works in different places around the world. And here's what I mean by that. If you look at Madrimov, who doesn't have that many fights as a professional. If anybody can put the number of fights Madrimov have, if you could Google it and let me know. But Madrimov doesn't even have 20 fights, right? So the American boxing fans look at him like, oh, he don't even got that many fights. He a bum. He ain't no lap. Look at that. He got 12 fights now. So what American boxing fans don't understand is that Madrimov, this guy got over 200-300 amateur fights at an elite level, at a world-class level. European fighters, just like Cuban fighters, yo, these people will stay on as amateurs for mad years. So by the time they turn professional, these guys are basically seasoned veterans. They not just new fighters. These guys trained with professional fighters as amateurs. They fight, in different tournaments around the world, fighting top level competition. These guys are basically professionals who are staying on as amateurs to keep, winning accomplishments, to keep winning international tournaments. So you see a guy, with 12 wins, 15 wins, you're like, oh, he ain't know that. This motherfucker been fighting for over 20 years, bro. Top level competition. So when you see a fighter who's European, who's Cuban, and they don't have that many fights, don't assume that they're a bum or that they're not that good because they don't have that many fights. A lot of these guys stay on as amateurs for a long time and they turn pro late. That's why. Doesn't make them a bum. Doesn't make them a bad fighter. MAW, expectation isn't reality. What will be, in my humble opinion, most didn't know or even bother to look into Madrimov. And look at the type of fighter that Madrimov turned out to be. Another Robertson lies. We understand. Champ. He got 12 fights now. Gnarly bastard. Prime McGregor sleeps Haney. Prime McGregor doesn't sleep Haney or doesn't beat any top level boxer. Ever. McGregor is not better than Devin. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, MMA better than boxing. Okay, you need to be blocked out of here. We don't need gnarly bastards up in here. Get the fuck out of here with that corny shit. You whack, you corny, and boxers make more money than MMA fighters for a reason because boxing is a bigger sport. Fuck out of here. Champ, I just don't think it's clear cut. Canelo versus Crawford is going to be such a great fight. I mean, I see that. Look, I don't think that Crawford is just going to wash Canelo. And obviously, if Canelo was to win, I don't think he's going to wash Crawford. I believe that these are two elite level fighters, two pound for pound fighters, two of the greatest fighters of this era who are going to face each other. So it's going to be a competitive fight. But it's not, I'm telling you, my brother, and I want you to remember this, champ, because this is a receipt. I'm leaving a receipt on YouTube so that we can talk about it later on. This fight is not going to boil down to power. Nobody's going to get knocked out. Nobody's going to get stopped. This fight is going to go the distance. It's going to go 12 rounds. And at the end of the day, the winner is going to win based off of skills. The winner's going to win based off of who was able to outbox who. Now, if you think Canelo's going to outbox Crawford, I don't have a problem with that. Canelo's an elite level fighter. Canelo's a great fighter. So if you think he's going to outbox him, cool. But it's not going to be about power, bro. You could forget about all that. Oh, he's moving up 2 divisions. Canelo's too big. Canelo's too strong. You could forget about that, my brother. This is not going to be about power. This is going to be about skills. And I remind you that there's already 2 fighters who made Canelo look bad. Who made it look easy against Canelo. Make of that what you will. Anthony Robertson. Nobody think Canelo is going to beat Crawford. You're lying to your friends. Nobody think Canelo's going to beat Crawford. Is that what you're saying? But Crawford cannot handle Canelo. We all know this. But fight okay. Nobody think that Canelo is going to bud Crawford or is going to beat Crawford. Bro, we got somebody right now saying that Canelo's going to beat Crawford. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, bro? Champ is saying that Canelo's going to beat him. But Crawford cannot handle Canelo. We all know this. But this, we all know this? Nah, we don't know this. When you say we, You're talking about you and the rest of the people that don't know shit about boxing. Don't include me in that. You, when you say we, is yeah. Y'all think y'all know this. I can't wait for this fight. I hope that when Canelo and Crawford fight each other and I go live, y'all don't disappear. I hope your internet doesn't go down and you couldn't go on the live this day, because I want to see what you have to say after Terrence Crawford whooped that ass. After that fight goes the distance like I told you that it would. I want to see what y'all going to say. I want to see. But my peoples, again, we all digressed. The original subject of this live, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez. It looked like that fight is going down. I'm looking forward to it. Champ, when Crawford wins, we change our names on YouTube. I mean, look, all I'm going to tell you is this, man. After that fight, I hope everybody doesn't disappear. I hope it doesn't happen like Crawford versus Spence. Everybody who told me that Spence was going to beat Crawford, they disappeared as soon as Crawford put the beating on him. So I hope the people that are saying Canelo's going to win, I hope y'all don't disappear. I hope y'all don't disappear. Anthony Robertson, I don't believe Buck Crawford has a chance at all, to be clear. I mean, you don't believe that he has a chance. And I respect that. But you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be disappointed, Anthony. I hope when the fight happens and Crawford put the beats on Canelo, maybe even make him look bad, I hope you don't disappear. I hope you join this live and tell me what happened. What happened that Canelo was so big? And what happened that, Crawford was supposed to get beat up and didn't have a chance? What happened? I need to see you after the fight. Champ, he got a chance. He's a pound-for-pound fighter. Jermell Charlo wasn't a pound-for-pound fighter. So, I think that's a good argument to make. And I have to say, my guy, when you have top level fighters fighting each other, it's gonna be a competitive fight. It's gonna be a good fight. That's why I think it's comical, it's funny, it's hilarious to hear people say, I think that Crawford is gonna get smoked. Canelo's gonna stop him. It's gonna be a knockout. I had somebody yesterday tell me that Crawford wasn't going to make it past the 5th round. It's like, bro, how do you even assume shit like that? How do you even assume that an undefeated pound-for-pound fighter is just going to get washed? Do you see this happening? Do you see people of that level just getting smoked? Come on now. Come on now. Champ, Jermell Charlo style is a boxer puncher, so he tried to fight fire with fire. He tried to punch with Canelo. I don't think Crawford is gonna do that at all. He boxes, but let's see. Look, Jermell Charlo fought a fight to survive against Canelo. He didn't fight to win. If you watch the fight, in most instances, Charlo was just punching defensively. And what I mean by punching defensively, that's when a fighter's walking you down and you throw punches to try to stop him from walking you down. That's what Charlo was doing. Charlo was not fighting to win that fight. Just like Edgar Berlanga. Edgar Berlanga wasn't fighting to win. That motherfucker wanted to just say, yo, I went the distance with Canelo. He didn't knock me out. That's what that was about. I did not see that man trying to win that fight at all. Champ, when Jermell felt the power, he tried to survive. Yeah, he fought on survival mode. Charlo fought Canelo to survive, to go the distance. He did not fight to win. Anthony Robertson, Canelo fought the little Charlo. There's a big Charlo. That's why I made a mistake. It's Jermell. Jermell is the smaller one, the 154-pounder. Same champ. Same with Ryan versus Rolly. Yeah, once Ryan got dropped, he was never the same in that fight. He got a hand surgery. I don't know if that had anything to do, but before he got dropped, he was letting his hands go, putting hands on Rollies. Then he got dropped, and it wasn't the same no more after that. It wasn't the same. But, I believe that it's going to be a very competitive fight. I believe, Canelo and Crawford are going to show out. They're both going to have great moments in that fight. Now, let me tell you something funny, my peoples. So y'all can see, because I am the human algorithm. I am Jay Stradamus. Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez. I actually ran that fight through ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT for work. So I asked, who's going to win between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford? Yo, ChatGPT gave me a round-by-round breakdown of how that fight is going to play out. And ChatGPT has Terence Crawford winning by split decision. It has them going back and forth. Early on, it has them starting off cautiously, trading rounds. Canelo going hard to the body. Crawford counter-punching him with hard shots up top. Them both winning a lot of rounds throughout. And then in the championship rounds, it has Terence Crawford pulling away. Making small adjustments to pull away to win by split decision. So, ChatGPT got Crawford winning by split decision. I got Crawford winning by unanimous decision. So, I'm trying to beat ChatGPT. Then if I beat it, I'm going to be like, you see? I beat artificial intelligence, bro. Champ, I'm not going to lie. I got a small bet on Crawford to win. Odds on Canelo are too bad. Bro, Crawford, and we're going to see it as it gets closer to fight time and when they sign contracts and all that stuff, once you're already able to place your bets, Crawford is going to be the underdog. So if you want to make money, Crawford is the bet to make. Look, I used to bet all the time on boxing. I don't bet that much anymore. Rarely do I place a bet. Crawford versus Canelo, I'm placing my bet. Number one, to show ya how sure I was of the outcome. But number two, because he's going to be the underdog. He's going to bring me back a little bit of money. I don't mind that either. David, that's crazy how ChatGPT can do shit like that. I'm telling you. You could go yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. Go to ChatGPT and ask about Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. That shit gave me round by round who was going to win each round, how they was going to win it. They was going to have, their moments. ChatGPT mostly focused on Canelo Alvarez being able to land some body shots and being able to get in there. And Crawford then being able to land some big counter shots to Canelo's head. And just them going back and forth. And then they got Crawford pulling away in the championship rounds. So ChatGPT says Crawford is going to win by split decision. I'm saying Crawford is going to win by unanimous decision. Can I beat ChatGPT? We're going to find out. If I beat it, y'all going to have to start calling me Jay Stradamus going forward. Champ, I thought Spence would have beat Crawford, but he didn't look like his usual self. Champ, this is something that I always try to tell people when they say that. When we're used to seeing you beat everybody, knocking everybody out, and now you're the one that get beat up, of course you're not going to look like your usual self, my brother. We used to see you on this side of the ass whooping. Now we're seeing you on the other side of it. So you're never going to look as good as you are when you're fighting somebody that's better than you. How did Canelo look versus Dimitri Bivol? How did Canelo look versus Floyd Mayweather? He looked like a B-level fighter. They made him look like he a B-level fighter. So when you say Spence, didn't look like his usual self. Well, we not used to seeing him get beat up and get dropped a bunch of times in the same fight. So of course he wasn't gonna look like his usual self. The reason he didn't look like his usual self is because he was in the ring with somebody who was better than him, who was beating that ass. Oh, Mr. Ninja. Hey, my brother. What's good, Mr. Ninja? Appreciate you dropping in. Champ, I won't lie. I didn't know how good Crawford was until he beat Sean Porter. Look, I'm going to tell you like this, my brother. I've been following Terence Crawford since he had short braids. Before he fought Gamboa. I think it's already been, it's been more than 10 years. I've been following Crawford for more than 10 years already. So, I still remember when Terence Crawford had the little short braids. And I told a couple of my co-workers, yo, this guy can fight. Y'all need to see this guy. He's going to be a world champion. He's going to be one of the best. And I invited them to my house to see the fight. I can't remember who Terence Crawford fought. I could look it up. But it was a couple of fights before he faced Gamboa. And since then, my brother, I knew that Crawford was going to be one of the best of this era. I already knew he was going to be a pound-for-pound fighter. Since then, I saw this guy, fighting southpaw throughout most of the fight. And then in the championship rounds, he went orthodox. I was like, what the fuck? I thought he was a southpaw. What the hell? When he fights as a southpaw, he looks like a southpaw. And when he fights orthodox, he looks like a guy who's right-handed. So since back then, I knew that Crawford was special. And I've been putting people on. There's even people who have hit me up now like, yo, Jay, that's Terence Crawford. That's the guy that you told me about over 10 years ago. You was right. So I'm telling you, I've been on the Terence Crawford bandwagon for a very long time. I knew that, if you go back in this same channel, you'll find videos of me predicting that Crawford was going to stop Errol Spence in the 8th or the 9th. Oh, Mr. Ninja, bro, I subscribe now. Appreciate you, my guy. Really appreciate that. I promise you, Box Center is definitely going to be your favorite boxing channel. I upload videos every day. Once we finish with this live, I urge you, my brother, check out some of those videos so you can see I'll be having music, graphics, pictures, videos, all type of shit. These videos right here is on like nothing you ever seen before. Derek, one thing I always told people about Crawford is that if it were easy to go undisputed, more people would do it. If it was easy, everybody would go for undisputed. It's not. It's not. Some of the best fighters ever never went for undisputed. Floyd Mayweather never went for undisputed. Manny Pacquiao never went for undisputed. And there's a bunch more. There's a bunch others. It's not easy. Champ, yeah, same. You got a new subscriber. Appreciate you, my guy. Definitely appreciate it. And I promise you, when you check out these videos that I'll be uploading every day, you're going to be like, yeah, this motherfucker know what he talking about. He not just out here talking shit. Anthony Robertson, if your plan is to stand in front of Canelo Alvarez, you're going to lose. I mean, I don't know who's planning to stand in front of Canelo Alvarez. We saw Dimitri Bivol and Floyd Mayweather use their footwork to beat Canelo. So there's already a blueprint out there to beat Canelo. You think that Crawford is not looking at that blueprint? He's just going to go, oh, let me go trade leather with this guy. Nah, my brother. There's already a game plan to beat Canelo that two fighters already showed it. Cool guy. I want you and me sparring. We can come to Dominican Republic, my brother. We'll spar. Oh, Mr. Ninja, of course, brother. But yeah, my peoples, y'all want to check out those videos that I'll be posting. I'll be posting mad videos. talking about the fights. By the way, to those of you who just subscribed to the channel, another thing that y'all don't know about me, I be calling the fights. I'm a commentator. And I'm a commentator on a different level, my peoples. I don't do the boring ass commentary like they be doing on TV networks. So I'm gonna urge you, check out a few of my videos where I'm doing commentary. Matter of fact, yesterday I was doing commentary for Sugar Nunes, who won a title in Japan. Y'all gotta see the commentary, so y'all can see what I'm talking about. One of these days, the Zone, ESPN, somebody gotta give me a call so I could do commentary for them. Y'all start tagging them. I had somebody tagging Matchroom and tagging the Zone, like, yo, this the person y'all need doing your commentary. Pirate, I want to talk about boxing and have a light sparring with you. I am your Korean fan. I appreciate you, my brother. Oh man, Korean. I thought I had somebody from Japan that I was talking to. I thought it was you, my brother. My brother from Korea, if you could come down to Dominican Republic, we can definitely do that. Spend a little time, spar a little bit, talk boxing. Hell yeah. Oh, Mr. Ninja. Bro, I say hello from Syria. Ooh, Syria is in the building. Salute, my brother. My Syrian brother. You know we got that same blood, my guy. Pico Wolf. Undisputed is just a matter of cherry picking the right people. Watch how Rolly does it. It's basically about fear of losing the title. Nah, my brother, Undisputed look, the thing about Undisputed is that it's about circumstances, not necessarily about cherry picking. It's about circumstances. What? Look at Devin Haney. He was able to become undisputed by beating one reigning champion in George Kambosos. So Kambosos, he's not, he was like the weakest link as far as a champion, right? Devin Haney beat him, became undisputed. But that wasn't Devin Haney's fault. Why? Because Lomachenko vacated one of his titles. Then Teofimo Lopez chose to fight Kambosos, and that's how that happened. But look at Errol Spence. Errol Spence fought three fighters, three reigning champions to pick up his 3 belts. And then Terrence Crawford came, boom, and beat him. That wasn't the easy road. You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand, some fighters, to become undisputed, they have to do a lot more than others, like Devin Haney, who only had to beat one reigning champion. But still, man, being undisputed is very, very hard. Very, very hard. Oh, Mr. Ninja, I love you, brother. I subscribe to my other accounts. Oh, Ninja. Much love to you, everybody in Syria. And I don't know how this even happened. There's a couple of people from Syria who tuned into my live. I don't know how you guys found me, how YouTube showed you my live, but I appreciate you, my brother. Salute, and salute to everybody in Syria, my brother. My peoples, I'm about to end this live. I got to go to work. I got a job, you know what I'm saying? But I appreciate everybody tuning in. My brothers from Syria, Mr. Ninja, Derek, and everybody else. I got a lot of people who came through today. Anthony Robertson, Derek, the champ, the new subscribers. I appreciate you, my people. By the way, y'all know we're going to be talking boxing later today. Y'all know it. So stay tuned. You already know what this is. I'm Jay Smith, my peoples. This is Box Center. This is your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. Don't forget what I told you, my peoples. I posted videos. I post videos every day, but you should see the ones that I posted where I'm calling these fights. Sugar Nunes was the last fight that I was calling. Check that out. Y'all gonna see what's the right way to call a fight for the fight fans. Y'all gotta see it, my people. Gio, what's up, Jay? What's good, Gio? Boxing on paper. Big love, brother. Salute, my guy. I appreciate you. So I'm about to get the hell out of here. But again, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And, of course, check out these new videos that I posted, my peoples. Check them out. Like I told y'all, Box Center is gonna be the #1 boxing channel on YouTube. You know what? The #1 boxing channel in the world, in the galaxy, even in the universe. The aliens ain't gonna have a better boxing channel than this. So stay tuned in, my peoples. Y'all already know what it is. Anthony Robertson, let me read one last comment. I'm not just going to leave and not read my brother's comment. Canelo fought them Spanish boys. They were big but young. Canelo was not trying to hurt them. Listen, Canelo versus Crawford, that's going to be the biggest fight in boxing, the biggest fight this year. AB, what's up, my brother? But we got to see it. We got to see it. I got Canelo getting his ass kicked. Crawford is going to win by unanimous decision, my peoples. I'm about to get the hell out of here. Once again, one love to everybody. Salute to everybody who jumped in. I really appreciate y'all, man. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button. Share these videos, all that good stuff. I'm out of here, my peoples. Yo, I love each and every one of you for coming through and showing love to me. Peace.